Good morning to all of our participants in the United States or in Southern America or in Canada, and good afternoon to all of our participants, also maybe in some parts of Northern and Southern America. And good evening to all of you joining from Europe or maybe even from Asia. So I've seen in the chat before in the main event that somebody was joining from Kuala Lumpur. So if you're still with us, then thank you for keeping up with us. So welcome to our Hydrogen Investors Tours breakout session on funding and business cases. From my point of view, that was really great information on the huge potential for hydrogen applications and also business opportunities in the German coal regions during the last 2 hours. And I'm sure that many of you are now having many questions on how your business can succeed in Germany's Lusatian, Central German, and Rhenish coalfield regions. And maybe before we start with your questions, let me remind you of 3 facts about these regions. So taken together, these regions cover a vast area of 28,000 square kilometers. And secondly, everywhere in these huge areas, even cash funding for establishing new manufacturing or production facilities is available. And as a last point, I'd like to mention these areas offer opportunities for you to get into contact with enterprises, research institutes, and industry associations which have innovative ideas to transform these lignite areas into energy producing regions of the future. So maybe after today, you already found the potential place for your new business presence in Germany. Thank you for tuning in. You are at the right place to pose your questions online via the chat tool on this website. Our expert and me, we're in a different video conferencing tool, so it may take a little time to get them transformed to us. So please understand that, and I will then forward your questions to our today's group of experts from the 3 different regions. So my name is Udo Selhast, and I'm a senior manager at Germany Trade and Invest's Investor Support Services team. And as you still might know from our CEO's Jürgen Friedrich's introduction almost 2.5 hours ago, Germany Trade and Invest is the economic development agency of Germany. We've got 3 basic tasks, so trade, location, marketing, and invest. And in our trade department, our business analysts regularly report on 120 countries. And by this, they provide the knowledge base for German companies planning their business activities abroad. In addition, GTAI promotes Germany's advantages as a business location internationally. And for that, we've got a special focus on those regions in Germany undergoing structural transformation. And this includes those areas affected by the German coal phase out. And finally, that's why we're all here today in this great hydrogen investors tour. But GTAI also is a first port of call at the German federal level for foreign businesses that would like to learn about investment possibilities in Germany. So how and where can you set up a branch office or a subsidiary in Germany? And to make investing in Germany as easy as possible, our investor consulting team, including me, supports foreign companies from market entry to locating in Germany. But of course, GTAI does not work in this field alone, but we work in very close alliance with our regional partners. And as you might be aware, Germany consists of 16 different federal states. All of them offer great support for you when you intend to set up your company in Germany. And we're really working hand in hand, all of us together here, but also all of our colleagues in Germany. And as you might have seen from the colleague from NRW Global Business, who was their head of affairs in Northern America. And therefore, I am really happy to have great experts from 4 federal states joining us today to answer your questions on funding and business cases. And moving geographically from west to east, let me introduce you first, representing the Rhenish co-region, Dr. Christian Rohe from the Ministry of Economic Affairs, Industry, Climate Action and Energy of the state of North Rhine-Westphalia. He's really looking forward to your questions. And also Gott Schüle from the IMG, the Investment and Marketing Corporation, Saxony-Anhalt, as well as Alexandra Gehring from Saxony Trade and Invest are at hand to tell you more about the Central German co-region, because the Central German co-region lies in the two federal states of Saxony and Saxony-Anhalt. But Alexandra also has a second role to fill in today, because together with Roald Koch from the Economic Development Agency Brandenburg, she's also representing the Lusatian co-region in the very eastern part of Germany, because the Lusatian co-region is situated in two different federal states also, which are Brandenburg and Saxony. And so I don't know if we've got already some questions. So in our tool, there are none at the moment. But yes, maybe then we can start with a little introductory round of our experts. Maybe we can just start with Guts from the IMG in Saxony-Anhalt. Maybe you can answer, does your federal state have its own hydrogen strategy in place apart from all the federal strategies which are over there? And if so, could you please explain some key pillars on that? And maybe then afterwards, we can also ask this to all the other experts in our round today.
Yes, thanks, Udo. Thanks for the introduction. Good morning to our friends in the United States. Good evening to the rest of the in Europe. Yes, it's an important question that you're raising with the strategy for us as on a state level. Obviously, we are all bound to the national hydrogen strategy that has been developed by the national government of Federal Republic of Germany. On a state level, from our side, we are trying not to just focus on hydrogen producers and hydrogen applications, but also on the so we call it the modular level and the parts level. Sorry for that. Meaning that we are, apart from looking for focusing on acquisition of producers of hydrogen, we're also looking at the component manufacturers, especially the electrolyzers manufacturers, the water purification systems manufacturers, all along the value chain. And on the deeper laying level, we're also looking for the sub-suppliers of the manufacturers of the different components. And we believe that with this strategy, we will secure a pole position, a long-term pole position for Saxony-Anhalt to become a hub for hydrogen, not just on an applications level, but also going into the hardware, and which fits perfectly well with our history of being an engineering manufacturing province. That's it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Götz. So yeah, maybe Alexandra, as you're part of the Central German co-region and of the Lusatian German co-region, maybe you can just mention something on the Central German co-region first, and then skip over to the Lusatian co-region and also tell something about Saxony Trade and Invest.
Yeah, I'm happy to do so. So yeah, as Saxony, we have two shares of co-region, as already mentioned, the Central co-region and the Lusatian co-region. And therefore, we do not only have one hydrogen strategy, we do have two, one for Saxony itself and one for the Lusatian part, together with Brandenburg. And to highlight the main emphasis, there's a strong emphasis for research and development support with the Hydrogen Mobility Competency Center in Chemnitz being a major pillar. We already heard today the expert of Tour2 from Chemnitz, and also we want to focus on industrial production of electrolyzer and fuel cell systems, of power-to-X facilities, and hydrogen infrastructure that goes beyond borders. So what was also mentioned today, the IPCEI projects, that is very important for Saxony. We got one IPCEI project already. There's already the go for one IPCEI project, but we hope for more in Saxony and to build up a great infrastructure for hydrogen here in our state, but for whole Germany in general. Yeah.
Great, thank you, Sandra. So if you've got any questions, please feel free to pose them. And otherwise, now I would like to hand over to Roald from Brandenburg to tell us also something about the Brandenburg part of the Lusatian co-region. So I think your CEO already mentioned vicinity to Berlin, and also the big Tesla investment you had during the last years. So maybe you can tell something about the Lusatian co-region and what kind of strategies there from the Brandenburg region.
Okay, thank you for the question. At least I think we are following a kind of systemic approach, since the overall hydrogen economy needs to be built up, I think, in a systemic way, because we need all the things in place at once. We cannot wait until the hen or the egg has been laid or has come to us. So it's a kind of an obstacle, but we need to find ways to overcome it. And as our Minister for Economic Affairs often puts it, every windmill needs an electrolyzer to store the energy which is cannot be fed into the grid. Of course, this is a kind of a dream or an ideal situation which might not come true, but it really highlights the problem that we have an excess sometimes of electricity in the grid, which is produced by our windmills, which are about 3,500 to 3,800 right now. So I think we have the biggest number of all landlocked German states. So this will play into the overall systemic efficiency of the energy system at all. And of course, which was mentioned as well, is the setup or the buildup of the infrastructure of hydrogen pipelines. There are companies underway, accompanied by the respective governments from the states, to set up this infrastructure. And I think if we really then would like to pamper the bigger industries, like in Brandenburg, we have a steel mill from ArcelorMittal, we have glass industry, we have a cement industry and ceramics industry who really burn a lot of natural gas. And they are all eager to turn themselves into a decarbonized business. But of course, then they are in competition for using the electricity with, for example, the private sector, who might need the hydrogen for heating as well. So our pillars are, I think, the usual pillars to set up a new industry, which is the production of hydrogen in itself, the production of equipment like electrolyzers or fuel cells, and of course, in the end, the implementation, which I just covered, industry, the private sector, but even the transportation sector, which comes up quite quickly. So basically, and that's why we try to cooperate with different states, different companies, regions in the world, to pamper all these 4 areas.
Thank you very much, Roald. So very interesting. And maybe Christian, you're from the ministry itself, so we don't want to have a political discussion over here, as we're all from economic development agencies, at least the other ones. Maybe so last week both chambers of the German parliament pushed a real huge package on boosting renewable energies as a whole through the legislative process. And I think there has been a lot of preparatory work also in your ministry for that, because the second chamber, of course, is the chamber of the different federal states. But maybe can you also tell something about the hydrogen strategy in North Rhine-Westphalia?
Yes, thank you very much. So In North Rhine-Westphalia, our hydrogen strategy is called the Hydrogen Roadmap. It is available in an English version on the internet, 5 pages of condensed information. I think that would be interesting for all the participants. And as in the other states represented today, we are looking at hydrogen applications across the sectors. So we have goals for the industry sector, for the transport sector, and we're also looking at hydrogen infrastructure and renewable energies. For us in the Rhineland, and I think this is true for the other co-regions that are present here today, our political aim is that our regions will be energy regions in the future. We have a lot of the necessary infrastructure in place. We have the know-how, the brains, if you want. We have the experts that have worked in the energy sector for a long time. So there's quite some potential for making the switch to renewables in our regions. However, we have to be honest that the amount of electricity produced today by coal-fired power plants cannot be matched 1-for-1 locally in our core region. So we have to look at other areas that produce renewable energy. For us in North Rhine-Westphalia, that means that we look to the north and to the northwest. So we are a landlocked state, but we are really close to the North Sea, which is where most of offshore wind generation in Europe happens. So for us in our strategy, the connection to Belgium and the Netherlands is very important. We're looking at their seaports for the import of hydrogen that comes from places even further far away beyond Europe. But we're also looking at the potential for green hydrogen produced by offshore wind parks in the North Sea, including the German North Sea. And so we believe that it will be necessary to create a European grid for the hydrogen system of the future, where we use the best conditions for renewable energies across the continent, including Southern Europe, including Northern Europe, the water power in Scandinavia, and bring that to where industry is and where the demand for energy is. And hydrogen is a very efficient tool for that.
Thanks a lot, Christian. So I think by this you see that all the federal states to have a highly integrated approach to put hydrogen into as many application fields as possible, and everything is well thought through. And so we know you are out there. So please, if you've got any questions, just pose them to us. And what we get often asked when we talk about incentives to companies which are interested to invest in Germany, then we often get asked about the incentives. I already told that all of the areas we talk about today, the 3 co-regions, that all of them offer cash incentives. And when investors talk to us about that, they often have the question whether they can already start a project before they have applied for funding, before they have applied for funding for these cash grants, or whether they should wait until they have got an official approval. And when will they get the money? Because cash grants are great, but it's also good to know when you get them. So I don't know if you can also comment on that. So maybe maybe Roald, you can say something about that.
Yeah, maybe the basic law of funding from public side is do not start the project before you have applied for it. But once you have handed in the application forms, you will get back very soon a letter from the development bank of the respective state, which not only informs you about your project number, but having this letter in your hand, you are allowed to start the project on your own risk the first time. And then you can really try to purchase machinery and so on. So there's a time frame in between handing in and getting the final permission from the development bank, which can be used to start the project. So let's say if you would like to do it like Tesla, of course, this is a different story, because Elon Musk really went into the risk. He started not only having the final approval for the subsidies, he started with using a specific paragraph in the German building law, which allows him to start with the construction upfront, because he handed in a complete set of application forms, building applications, all these technical details. But it was all on his own risk. So it was not illegal. Some people in the news and in the media claim he started with an illegal way of building. It was all legal, but it was a kind of surprising way of doing business in Germany, because we tend to rule out as many risks as possible through planning and regulation and then start the project. So, but in Brandenburg, we are open to use this case even for other projects as well, to see how far we can get with this.
Yeah, thank you very much, Roald. So yes, please feel free to ask us any questions you have. So yes, maybe we could also continue our discussions in a bilateral way. So all of our experts and also me, we are available via the email addresses and also other means of communication on the online tool. So if you just click at matchmaking or at speakers and then select our names, then you will be able to find our contact details, and then you can get in touch with us and we can thoroughly talk through your investment project with you. So yes, I hope that you enjoyed today's Hydrogen Investors Tour, and that you also enjoyed this little breakout session. And I hope that now many of you are contacting us in order to set up your new business presence in the Rhenish or Central German or Lusatian co-region with the help of the government in NRW, but also with the Economic Development Agency of NRW Global Business, and also together with the IMG in Saxony-Anhalt, but also with Saxony Trade and Invest, and of course with the Economic Development Corporation of Brandenburg, and finally, of course, with us at Germany Trade and Invest. So thank you all for participating today, and have a great day or evening. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you as well.